What's up guys, it's your boy Serar. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be talking about choosing colors for bass fishing success. Now I know when you walk into your local tackle shop or you're going to a big store like Bass Pro, you look at that wall of colors and you honestly get overwhelmed with how many different color combinations there are. I mean, with that many options, what are you supposed to choose? How are you supposed to know what the fish want? Well, my goal over the next two videos is going to be to break it all down for you so you have a better time choosing the correct color when you go in to buy your next lures. Now, since colors are a pretty broad topic as far as fishing goes, I am going to make this a two-part video. In this video, I'm going to be focused on color patterns. So what kind of prey or fish are we trying to mimic? And then in the next video, I'm going to be going through the range of colors within that pattern and figuring out how to pick the correct color within that range. So for color patterns, I'm going to break it down into 6 different categories of patterns that you want to look for. The first pattern that we're going to talk about today is going to be a bluegill pattern. Bluegill are one of the staple preys to bass fishing and for bass all across the country. They are found in the majority of lakes, ponds, and rivers cross country, and it is a great place to start when you're looking for something to use to catch bass. Now, bluegill coloring for the most part ranges from greens and blues for the most part to a little bits of yellows and orange for a little bit of bright color. A prime example is going to be this square bill crankbait right here. It is a great little color. It's got some blue accents with some green and even a little bit of brown and black on the top. Most hard baits such as crankbaits, jerkbaits, lipless crankbaits, you name it, they're going to actually have bluegill in the name of that color. So it should be easy for you to kind of pinpoint and find those colors to match bluegill when you're looking at hard baits. As far as worms go though, a couple of my favorite colors to mimic that would be bold bluegill and also Aaron's Magic. Moving on from there, we're going to look at a baitfish color pattern. In my opinion, baitfish pattern is the easiest one to kind of pick out because you're really just looking on a spectrum from white to black and everything on the gray scale in between. A lot of time you'll add bits of purple or yellow or blue to them, but the main body is going to be that mix of white or black. There are a lot of different types of baitfish out there and they do have different color patterns. So really try and see which ones your lake has in it so that you can better identify what color that you want to use. For example, a bait like this that is a black top with a mostly pearl white body is going to much better imitate something like a silver side. Whereas a bait like this with a lot of white but a lot more of that purple color on top is going to better mimic something like a threadfin shad. If I had to choose a couple staple colors though to really go off of, my two choices no doubt would be holographic shad and sexy shad. The next color pattern we're going to be looking at is crawfish. Now, crawfish is a bit more complicated. So a fun little fact is actually crawfish change colors throughout the year depending on if they had just molted and water clarity, weather, water temperature. There's a lot of different factors that go into what makes a crawfish the specific color that it is. So there is a wide range of colors that will work at any given time for a crawfish style bait. For ease of this video and not making it too complicated on you guys either, I'm going to give you my top 4 colors that I would use on crawfish style baits just to kind of get you guys a start. Number 1 would be something with a lot of brown and orange in it. Number 2 is going to be something with a green base, like a green pumpkin with maybe a little bit of blue or maybe a little bit of black in there as well. Number 3 is going to be something much brighter, something that looks definitely more red. This happens to be the fire craw color, which is a very red and orange bait. And last but not least, I don't have the color with me right here, but it's going to be a black and blue jig. In part 2 of the color video, I will be going a little bit more in depth into the crawfish style color because it does go into how to select within the range of colors very well. But for right now, we're just going to leave it at those 4 colors. The 4th color pattern we're going to look at is going to be frogs. I'm going to keep this range of colors very simple. There are different styles of frogs that you should have, but there are generally 3 main colors that you should have. Number 1 is going to be a primarily white bait. Number 2 is going to be more of a green bait, kind of that traditional frog look. And then number 3 is going to be a black frog. With that range of colors, I would say you're good for about 95% of the scenarios you're going to get into. Now, the 5th color pattern that I added is something that I kind of added just for soft plastics, because I have to say, for me personally, when I go to a lake, I think the main color that I pick up to start out, at least 85 to 90% of the time, is going to be some variation of this green pumpkin right here. I want to see if it'll focus on that. Maybe not. There we go. I think green pumpkin has the ability to imitate a lot of different fish. It's a very neutral color. It could be a crawdad. It could be a worm just swimming around. It could be a bluegill, a small bait fish of some kind. It's a very versatile color, and it's one of those colors that if I know nothing about the lake, what I'm going to pick up for a soft plastic bait like a worm or a crawdad, it's the first color that I have available to me. So I just wanted to kind of add that on there as a color pattern, just for somebody starting out at a lake that they don't really know about, or just as a starting bait for soft plastics in general. The last color pattern I have really doesn't have a good category. I kind of just put it as other prey. Now, by other prey, I'm talking bigger fish that are in the lake that bass feed on. Like, I know here on the West Coast we have a lot of trout. I know a lot of areas small catfish will get eaten. Rats, birds and ducks, carp, perch, you name it. For the majority of those baits, your goal is to just match the size and color of those type of fish that are in your lake. You're normally fishing a bigger sized rat, or you're fishing a big trout bait that looks exactly like a trout, or maybe you have this style of bait, but you're switching it up to look like a carp, or you're trying to switch it up to look like a catfish. So that last pattern really more or less focuses on your lake specifically. What kind of bigger prey is in your lake? Alright guys, and that is going to do it for part 1 of bass fishing color selection. Be sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on part 2, which should be going live a little bit later this week. In that video, as I mentioned before, we're going to be talking about now breaking down these color patterns that we've identified, and now we're going to choose which colors out of those, that range of colors, that we want to pick. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see all you guys in the next video. Peace out.